Well, we've been experiencing a balmy British summer's day. Don't get many of them to the pound. And the thing is, in the height of the summer, we have 16 hours of daylight in the northern hemisphere and 8 hours of dark, whereas in the heart of winter it's the other way around. And it takes a little bit of getting used to when you have twice as much daylight to do stuff with. Because in the heart of winter, when we wake up when it's still dark and get light at about 8, dark at 4, well, there's not much to do, is there? But now it's kind of like, well, I mean, I do all the things, and it's kind of like I've still got loads of extra time to do more stuff, and I've been completely satiated. I've been for my mile cycle, and I've been to the gym, and then I've been sunbathing, meditating, reading my book, making some videos, and then I thought, well, you know, that's enough, and so go back into my apartment. It's kind of like, it's only 4:30. It's only 4:30. You know, there's another 4 hours to do shit with. You can't just stay in on a beautiful day like today. So, coming back out again for round 2. Now, I made a video earlier where I was smashed, and I wasn't taking anything. I was just smashed for some reason. But if you watch that video, you find out. Anyway, this video is about truth, and is there any? And some people could say there is truth, the scientific truth, but even that is only temporary. It's always shifting. Everything's always shifting, and now they've discovered this, and now they've discovered that. And even when you look in science, it's only a hypothesis or a theory. There really are no facts to this cosmos, people. And many people find that problemsome. They don't want to accept that they consider, they feel insecure, they can't feel solid or, you know, safe about anything if there's no facts and no truth. The facts and the truth are, there is no facts and truth, people. And we live and die, we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we're going, and just deal with it, really. I was watching an Osho video last night, and one of the questions was, Osho, what would happen if the end of the world came about? And you got this little meek voice. What would happen if the world ended? And Osho's like, what of it? So what if the world ends? You end. And then, you know, if it ends really fast, then everything ends really fast. If it, you know, takes a while to end, then people are going to suffer. But what of it? You know, are you going to spend your whole life worrying about the end of the world when you've got nothing else to worry about? You've got to invent the end of the world. Come on, it just gets ridiculous, doesn't it? That's the insecure state of the human mind. It's a sickness. It really is a mind virus. Why do people need so much security? Why do they need to have truth? Why is everybody angry about finding truth? Oh, these people are lying. Everybody lies, we all lie. Even if we think we're telling the truth, we're lying because there is no truth. So, when you've been doing something like I've been doing for so long, after some time, you've got to settle into the fact that there is no facts out there, and even if there were facts, nobody knows them and nobody can agree on them. And I've never ever found 2 people on my channel which agree on a bunch of stuff. We've all got our own opinions and our own experience and our own biases and our own pet beliefs and all the rest of it. It's all Maya, it's all fiction, it's all fantasy. So just let it be. It's the cosmic giddle. For those of you that know about paradox, the cosmos is the paradox. It is a full-blown paradox. And there's nothing which is outside of the paradox. And so I'm having conversations, you know, now and again with a few people. And of course, you know, we all know our own stuff, or think we do. We've all travelled our own paths, and we've got our own opinions about stuff. But what I've discovered is that if you want to have any modicum of peace in your own heart, you got to let go of the notion of truth. And you can't be standing by your biases and get all in a tizzy when other people don't have an adherence to your particular belief. And so, particularly when we're speaking about spirituality and religion and philosophy and all those sort of things. And so I'm speaking with Edward, some of you will have watched the videos. And before that I speak with Zigzagzilla, and then now and again I speak with Andre, and a few other people, and these people are coming back. We're going to do more conversations. But if we start from the premise whereby we've got to find out what truth is, well, we're not going to stay friends very long. And we're not going to be giving each other what we want. Because if you're looking for somebody to agree with everything that you think, then you're looking for a miracle. You're looking for a non-reality. And you know, we have to be careful that we don't step into this romanticism whereby we once, you know, fell in love with gurus, and then we fall out of love with our guru. How many people do you know? You know, gurus could be pop stars, film stars, or politicians, anybody like this, when we think, yeah, that's the man for me, or the woman for me, and then they do something, and all of a sudden, you know, it all comes tumbling down. Because people just expect, or want, have a fantasy about that someone's going to be hitting, you know, all their notes, you know, in a perfect sequence. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And everything's, you know, honky-dory and dandy. It just isn't like that. And so we just have to lose this notion of truth. And if, you know, we can ever find any truth for ourselves, then it's only a subjective experience. And nobody else is going to be experiencing it. And now and again, some people say, oh, I agree with everything you say. And okay, you know, it's the honeymoon period. Trust me, it's the honeymoon period. And, you know, we've seen in recent times on the channel, you know, people come on and it's all wonderful and it's perfect and it's great. And I'm like, fuck, how many videos have you watched? Okay, if you watch 10, you'll be changing your mind. 20, you know, you'll be all over. 30, you'll be putting nails in coffins. No. If we're looking to be satiated with our biases and our fiction of truths, then we're going to be constantly disappointed, and we're going to be losing friends and associates on a very regular basis. So what do? Well, first and foremost, we have to accept that there is no truth. There is no fundamental truth about anything in any parameters. And even if, again, people, you know, have an adherence to science and they've got certain figures in their mind that science know this, they don't know it. They most certainly don't know it. It's all premised on an equation, and there's going to come a time when they're going to discover, oh, the equation was wrong. We never took into account this factor. And it's just the same with everything. So just lose the notion and the importance. Why does it need, why does anything need to be true? You know, there's a saying that things are true enough. Well, whatever's true to you is true enough. You don't need anybody else to jump on your bandwagon and to jump up and down singing songs with you about your little cult truths. How could we possibly find any truth when we're born in different countries, in different cultures, at different times, with different parents and different schools and indoctrinations and all these mega varying different things, and then all the social media people get involved with and gurus that we listen to? We travel very unique passages through this life, and from that we build the illusion of our truths. I think there's a glare coming on this camera, just in case I don't want to spoil the video. And so, you know, with myself on this channel, there's always someone that wants to put me right. And, you know, if you pick religion as a subject matter, then that's part of the course, and you've got to accept that. And so, you know, as a philosopher, primarily, of course I'm going to accept all varying opinions. I'm not going to be married to my own. But then when people come on and they seem so sure about theirs, what do? You can't do anything. I mean, sometimes I'll ignore the comment. Most times I'll put something down, which is just, without being too confrontatory, you know, just put something down and see if the other person softens. And if they don't, if they think that your kindness is a weakness, then they'll come back stronger. And then, well, then I put a little warning down, and then it's bye-bye. You know, okay, next. You know, and I've seen people come like this thousands of times in 14 years, people. And so, you know, it's nothing new to me. But when people are otherwise intelligent, but they still have this thing about truth, and they're looking for ultimate truth, well, it's all going to end up in tears. Because I don't know, out of all the research that I've done in all the years I've been on the planet, that I've ever found anybody that would lay claim to truth other than scientists, you know, for as long as it takes for that news to be old. And that, you know, how shockingly embarrassing has science been over the years. You can go online and you can look at this shocking, embarrassing, you know, blabbermouth what science have said. You know, they come out bouncing with glee and we discovered this and we discovered that, only a couple of days later to be retracting what they've said. Exceedingly embarrassing. And so, you know, nobody's more aware of that pitfall than they are, so they're you know, they're very careful. But then what do? Because if they've discovered something and they think it's really exciting, they want to be the first to blab it to the world. But they've got to be really careful, because if they get it wrong, then they look ridiculous, and then somebody else can see their error, and then they will come and take the glory. So it's, shall we tell the world now, or shall we just wait for a couple of weeks? But then if you wait for a couple of weeks, someone might steal your thunder. You know, so am I going to get, you know, a Nobel, laureate, or, you know, is somebody else going to get it? Am I going to get this nomination? Seems like the whole of science, they're just, you know, revolving around that, where the acclaim is just so important to them. And of course, you know, with the acclaim comes the funding, so, you know, enables them to continue with their research. But I think we just really got to contemplate and the thing is, you see, if we're not philosophers, if we're not psychologists, if we don't realise the multitude of failings that we've got as human beings, if we are long in the tooth studying psychology, we know a myriad of the failings that we've got, don't we? And of course this comes with age. It's called wisdom, isn't it? And so when we're older, usually we're wiser, but that's not, invariably it isn't the case. There's about a dozen old sticks having a little bit of a birthday party in my building, and the youngest has got to be like 75, and I suppose the oldest is getting up there for about 90. And to listen to that conversation, it's just like children, really. The nonsense, the rubbish, the gossip, the hearsay. Not a single bit of information that anybody would find remotely interesting if they were a little bit intelligent. And they've been on the planet all those years. So some people, they just do not evolve. And when you've got the vast majority of the world who do not evolve like that, then we have to deal with them. And you know, for me putting up my videos, I can't control who watches my videos. I can control who comments on them. You know, that's one saving grace that Google affords us. We can actually block anybody that we don't want on the channel. But there's always so many different opinions. So what am I saying here? I'm saying we have to be very careful. Be very pensive. Be very mindful and thoughtful about what you think is real and what you think is true. And you know, there's no point in saying this to Christians, of course, you know, the vast majority of them, because they're too steeped in their dogma. And it's just, you know, kind of unfortunate that I named my book Closer to God. And so I'm going to have to contend with this until I decide to change the name of the book, you know. And I've even changed the name of the channel. I was speaking to Edward about this last night, and I'm like, I don't know why I've done that, you know, because the worst people that a philosopher can ever deal with is dogmatists. You can't go nowhere with them, and we all know that religious arguments never go anywhere. Nobody ever budges from their dogma. Nobody ever sees the light halfway through a conversation and is big enough to apologise because they got it all wrong. When have we ever seen that? Doesn't happen. Never will happen. And so I should have named my book Journey to the Self. That would have been a much more befitting title, because that's actually what happened. And I can, you know, get away with saying I found myself much more easily than I could say I found the true nature of God, because it's too complex. But, you know, there are lots of people out there who think like I do. And so it's not like I'm just out there on my own. I'm not. You know, we've got lots of varying philosophies that have concluded a very similar thing. And of course there's variances with everything, because we've got to go on our personal experience. I've had a lot of bizarre experiences which have coloured my world, and I've got to stand by them because they were very, very powerful. And so I've got to look then for some sort of a reality to fit those experiences. If I never had any experiences like that, then I could look for a reality which has satiated my mind, whatever I was happy at. But because I've had very powerful supernatural experiences, I've got to look for something to fit those. And that's a whole different ball game. And so, you know, onwards I go, deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah, you know, I could labour this point on and on and on, but people who get it, get it. People who are kind of like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. You're right, Aaron. Yeah, because I know I've said things in the past and I've gotten in trouble and I've upset people. So people like that, pensive people, then okay, they'll hear my message. But the vast majority won't, and nothing will change. And so what do I do, or what can I do? You know. You see, over the years, what happens is when you've got a channel, people try to take over the channel. They try to steal your thunder. They try to rally other people's opinions against yours. And they think that anyone would stand for that. And then if I block them, maybe they'll come back with another YouTube channel. You see, you can create new channels. Oh, he blocks people's comments. I block idiots. I block idiots. You know, people don't get, you know, the reality that people's YouTube channels are private property. They're not everybody's property. When people put videos up, they are all private property. And they have decided to allow the public to see them. But if someone wants to come and tear their channel to pieces verbally, then, you know, there's protection measures in place against people like that, trolls. We don't get a lot of trolls these days, do we? Because YouTube do the vetting for us. And, you know, it works against us, you know, some of the time, because when we're even putting down comments which are not trolling comments, then YouTube will go, oh, that sounds like it's a troll comment. You know, if you're using a few profanities in there, or if you're saying, you know, things about a certain sector of society, you're not allowed to say many, many words these days, are you? So your comment will be disappeared. So they're doing it, you know, for us. And so on my, well, you know, it's the same as anybody's YouTube channel, but there's an option whereby you can vet the comments. And the comments that YouTube thinks are inappropriate, they go into a special file, and you are asked if you want to open that file. And it says things like, oh, it might be you know, offensive, or this, that and the other. Do you want to open it? So, you know, of course I always open, you know, see what stuff, and sometimes it's just someone swearing. Or it's a link to a channel where someone's swearing, or, you know, something like that. But, you know, if we're all gonna sort of like enjoy growing and learning, we've got to get over that pretty insurmountable barrier with lots of people. That people, we've all got our own opinions, we've all got our own experience, and I'm telling people about my experiences about meeting God and Jesus and evils and devils and evils and devils. Evils? Well, that's a curious one, an evil. I suppose there are evils around. I'll have to keep my eyes out for them. Devils and angels. Yeah, so, and, you know, people have been Christians for 30 years and they've never encountered any of that. And they get jealous. You know, they can't rationalise how a person like me, who's effing and blinding and cussing and dissing, you know, religion and, you know, all the heroes of the Bible, and, you know, I have these encounters. How does that work? I don't know how it works. But you can go on the premise, it's like Paul, Saul, the Roman tax collector, on the road to Damascus, where he had this encounter, and he saw the light. Well, why was he chosen? He was an abhorrent tax collector. Everybody hated tax collectors more than robbers and murderers. And so God works in mysterious ways. Why did Jesus choose him? Well, look at the turnaround. You see, when people like that have been turned around, they do big things. And so, you know, people have said to me, well, because of your character, you know, because of the lengths and breadths that you will go to, and you won't shy away. And if you do have these experiences, then you're going to be able to articulate them in a very, very strong and impressive way. And one thing I can say, that I've never had anybody that's been bold enough to discount my spiritual experiences, because they can see that if anything's true, they have been, they were. And so nobody says, oh, you've never done this or you've never done that. No, they can't do it in good conscience. They just can't do it. So nobody's ever done that. And you know, so that's one thing. And you know, to be fair, with the amount of jousting I do, I would have expected to have a whole lot more trolls and, you know, people spitting venom, but very, very few, really. You know, in the old days, let's say 10 years ago, oh, the channel used to be full of them, because you couldn't block people right off the bat. You know, it's a sort of progressive thing in YouTube. That they've sort of quarantined comments for your safety and all this sort of thing. It's a very new thing. But, you know, I used to engage with that stuff a whole lot more. I used to be much more vociferous, argumentative, aggressive. I just used to enjoy it. Just dismantling people, you know. But now it's a much more, I suppose, mature affair. It's a much more mature affair. Wow. I was drunk on cosmic consciousness all afternoon. I had half a bottle of beer and a small teaspoon of kratom, and I was just drunk on cosmic consciousness. I started to drink this bottle of beer directly after taking my supplements, and I've never done that before, because usually I take the supplements in the morning and then I drink mid-afternoon, but I took the supplements 12 o'clock, and then I came straight out with my bottle of beer, and then I started to feel really weird, kind of queasy and tired, and I just lied down and I couldn't move for about an hour. And then I was looking around and it was like I was on a mushroom trip, and the ecstasy was dripping from the trees, and it got to a point whereby I thought, I'm going to go in. I can't stand this ecstasy. When we are on DMT, fortunately that stuff doesn't last very long, but it's such a high level of ecstasy, it's often almost unbearable. And it's a visceral feeling. You feel the ecstasy viscerally, and it's kind of like, stop. I don't know, I suppose if you orgasm like 10 times consecutively, it's too much then, isn't it? Not that I've ever done that. It's a woman's prerogative, I think, primarily. But, you know, that's the level of ecstasy which is in the body. And you really do have a tangible entity that you're dealing with. And it's in all these trees, and it's in the world, and it's in the sun, and it's in the cloud, it's in the grass, and it's in the birds, and it's pure ecstasy. It really, really is bizarre. And I'm thinking, well, you know, those supplements mixed with a bit of alcohol, go figure. So I made a video earlier on about two, they're either coal tits or great tits, and they live in that tree over there, right? If you've watched the video, and they're flying to and from all day long in quick succession. You know, they go over there, they've obviously got a tree or a bush where they know they can get a lot of bugs, and they get the bugs straight away, and then they're back again. And they're back so fast, the male and the female are actually queuing up in the branches waiting to go in. You know, that's how abundant the bugs are for them. And so it'd be really interesting to, you know, actually see that, how they're getting the bugs, what bugs that they get, and from where. You know, because we can only seldomly get a tiny little glimpse of their lives. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm walking around in the stillness, and this is, you know, super calm, then I wouldn't have noticed them. But that's how I am, you know. I'm always still and observant. And so whilst I'm speaking, I'm just gonna walk over there, because I've watched them a dozen times since I've been making this video. And they'll be back. And they don't seem to mind me. Now, there's their nest. And I was standing to my left, but now I'm going to stand here. And we'll wait a little bit. And I don't think it's going to be too long before one of them comes back. And, you know, although I have made 2 videos like this already, I think it's such a wonderful thing that we can have such a close relationship and observation of these tiny little wonders that the vast majority of the world pays no mind to for the vast majority of the time. And how many people could actually describe the colourings on any of these birds and know one from the other? Very, very few. And so, you know, when we look at what's going on here, it's so wonderful how these trees have been allowed to drape down. You know, I suppose, you know, maybe at the end of this year they'll be cutting them back, because next year they'll be on the floor. But it's such a natural, beautiful state of being. And so there's both male and female that are tending these young, and they fly up into these branches, then they hop along, they have a look around, and then they'll go in. And previously they haven't been bothered by me just standing right here, and of course they absolutely have to notice that I'm here. You know, they're very, very careful about their environment. But all I'm thinking is that because they've seen me so often, and I have in actual fact been feeding these same birds, because there are these variety of birds that come down to feed on the sunflower seeds that I give them each day. And so if they have a recognition of me, then there's no problem, is there? And it's remarkable how many birds do actually have facial recognition and voice recognition. So they fly from those fir trees over there. I suppose the best thing is to do is just to turn the camera off and then turn it back on again if they come, yeah. That's the thing to do, isn't it? Bye for now.